Welcome to the grimdark future. This is Off to Battle, and you're a sharpshooter. What is your role? Well, your role is basically whatever the team actually needs at that particular moment. But your role number one is to use your F ability on keyboard and do this. Now I have a more advanced skill than the starting one with this character. It lasts longer if I keep killing elites, but these are elites. Now, they're highlighted for me during that skill. When that skill isn't active, they're not highlighted. This is a problem. If you have a very particular one that needs to die, middle mouse button by default. You can change these in key bindings, but the point is middle mouse button. Flamers. They're annoying. They're dangerous. You want them dead. Snipers. You really want them dead. You really, really want them dead. Trappers, same thing. You want them dead. Mutants. They can be very disruptive. You want to know where they're coming from because if you shoot them a few times, they die. Like most things. This is a high-level gun. Doesn't matter. The principle is absolutely the same. In fact, I'll show you how it is with a starting gun on level 3 opponents. This is with volley fire active.
This one's for Cadia.
Now without that, yes, the weak point damage is higher, and yes, it helps. But if you have a choice between shooting things in the body a bunch of times and shooting in the head, unless you're dealing with an extremely well-armored target, like a pusher, hitting them in the body is not a bad thing. Your weapons vary greatly. Some are more suited to the sharpshooter, and some are more suited to the preacher. But you have options. Now, main thing here, you can switch to melee. 1 is your melee, 2 is your gun here, 3 is like medical packs and things like that. And 4 would be your magic box, your auspex for scanning things on missions that require that. Which are annoying, but that's not the point. Point here is, damage profiles are going to change with, this is a flak armored helm. So, oil is armored on the head only. So you have a lot of enemy move variety, you have a lot of weapon variety. Things are not going to be the same everywhere you hit them, and there's too much variety. It really comes down to your weapons are an issue of preference. Now, melee. When these guys are sneaking up on a teammate who might be here, when they're sneaking up, your teammate doesn't see them. Now, if it's you and there's somebody right behind you, there's a shh sound before you get hit. So you do things like blocking, do things like turning around and killing things. But if they're sneaking up on your teammate and the teammate doesn't see and doesn't bother to listen, or just doesn't listen until the last second, kill them. Watch your teammates' backs. In hordes, you have the option of firing a grenade. This is the normal fire, this is the alt fire. You fire it normal and you hit something, it will actually physically bounce off. And then explode something. See, I didn't really want it to do that. I wanted it to do more like, you know, this.
Grenade primed and throwing.
That's more what I want. Block, push. Block, push and hold, and there's an attack. If there's a single enemy that's actually annoying you, the wind-up for the actual starting from scratch attacks, or even for the charge attacks, take longer. So for an enemy who's really weak, you actually might want it like this. Anyway, this is actually a high-sector weapon, so I was pushing them so far I couldn't finish them off with a quick attack. Point is that weapons vary greatly, and it's not simply a matter of stats, it's not simply a matter of tier. Weapons vary greatly in performance. Now, I will show fast, I had a pretty darn good roll for a power sword for this character. It's been nerfed to a small degree, and I say small, because it's not like it's weak. It's just not, you know, you can't solo entire hordes anymore. That's not usually your role anyway. It's more the preacher's thing regardless. So, I really want to try out a chainsword. I have actually not had one drop. And it's fun. There are different things, but like I said, it's still a powerful weapon. So you see that depending on what you're doing, you can have a weapon that's very good against armor targets or very, very bad. It's just a matter of what you have in your situation. But for most things, you can also shoot them. I'm getting to the crits here, and then if I hit the weak spot, I get a little bit better, but yeah, this is not a good gun against armor targets. That would be the bolter. I'll show it briefly. They made it so that switching back to it doesn't always do that bolt animation. From the hip, you can fire it multiple times. It does have armor piercing to a pretty large extent, but you can still use it to eliminate things like those. You can just do a lot of stuff with this. It does have its, disadvantages, but, like, I have a hard time hitting things at this range because of how the sights work. But anyway. Other things to go over briefly, the really basic stuff. As a sharpshooter, you have a permanent plus 15% weak spot damage before you get into any of these feats. You have plus 40% weapon ammo reserve. It was larger in the beta. Well, it's too bad that we don't have all that. But basically, a good team that works together should give you ammo priority when you're picking up. You and your allies in coherency, which there is none in the simulator, you gain a small amount of ammo whenever any of you kill an elite enemy. Or basically when you kill an elite enemy. Now I have 106 ammo in the reserve. Let me fire off a bunch of these with ridiculously wasted shots. So I have 091, 093, 095, 097. 101. Lower right. You see the ammo went up? 105. So you do get ammo back. It's not a gigantic amount, but it's there. So just remember that. These are elites. Regulars, doesn't help. Doesn't help at all. And yes, there is some piercing aspects, but that depends on the target that you actually hit. Anyway, Bolter is a fun gun. The problem is basically, I'll show you this something. So when you have your melee weapon out and you press your ability, you get out the Bolter. Okay, actually they completely fixed that. Ha 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 ha! This is awesome. It used to be that, I'll just do the reload thing. This pulling back the bolt thing, you did that every single time, even when you used your special, which was death in order for using this in an actual practical game situation. They fixed my bolt. I mean, at least for fast swapping. Somebody points out a flame. Pick this. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better, and that's the important thing. There are weapons that are much more suited for the creature that are hidden in here because the weapons are shared, like the combat shotgun. You can still take down snipers if you're lucky/good. But it's not really the sort of thing that you're expected to kill with this weapon. The thing is that if your team has nobody who's... Like, let's say the Zealot has a flame. Let's say the Ogren has one of those shotgun things. And you see that the damage varies greatly depending on what the hell that I was actually trying to kill. But yeah, certain things you can kill from across the room, it's just it's not as good at that. But you can. So the point is that in a pinch you can get away with basically anything, but
Kill so ready.
it's inefficient.
Kill confirmed on the tracks is 7-7.
So to sum up, your role is to shoot down elites, but it's also to help out with any kind of trash. It's to help out with any kind of big enemy if you have an appropriate weapon, and otherwise to just help make through. If you have a bleed grenade build, then you want to fire things like this with a grenade, because then they'll bleed and then that will help the other people.
Scratch one ranger.
And of course, it's a power source, so energizing is good. You want to feel that energy.
Raise it down.
So what else is there? Basically, you want to play within the team, but you want to be like a little bit back. If your Ogren is here, then you might want to be here to the side. You might want to be over here instead. But you don't want to be too far from it, for a long list of reasons. But, you know, in a pinch, sometimes you just have to go chasing these snipers.
First flamer killed. Chase the target.
So your job is to clean up so that your team is faced with less of these high DPS or high disruption enemies so that you can survive. That's your really your job. So, have fun with it. Enjoy taking down these specials. Get bragging rights. Above all, have fun, everyone. Take care.